What's up, guys? We're back. We're live. How about this? Philadelphia has signed Saquon Barkley just a couple of minutes after signing Bryce Huff, obviously from the New York Jets pass rusher. That video is live on both of our channels. Check that out if you missed it. And here we go. Philadelphia has officially signed Saquon Barkley. You see the Adam Schefter tweet on your screen. Josh, it's a lot. 3 years, $37.75 million, worth up to $46.75. Obviously with incentives, includes $26 million fully guaranteed at signing per sources. He now beats the franchise tag number, and his average per year is $15.833 million, the second highest running back money ever in NFL history. Howie Roseman has just dropped an absolute bomb onto the entire NFL landscape. Where are you at on Saquon Barkley? You didn't think this was actually going to happen.
I didn't think it was going to happen. No. And if anybody's, following me on Twitter, go ahead and just let Old Take Exposed know, because I was literally saying this is not going to happen a number of times. It's insanity. But hit the like button. If you haven't already, hit the like button. We got Saquon Barkley. This offense is going to be unstoppable. I did not see this happening at all. Again, like I mentioned, it's for the money too. That's where I'm trying to wrap my head around this thing.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
I need to know where we're at cap wise after this and figure out, okay, because the report, like you said, they're still trying to pursue Xavier McKinney. Like, okay, you got Bryce Huff, you got Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
You have enough money to supposedly get Xavier McKinney, but shout out to Chris here.
Hang on. Diana Rossini just said the Eagles aren't done 1 minute ago. So that sounds like Xavier McKinney is happening soon. So just we'll keep an eye on that. We're focused on Barkley, but I want to let you know
is this gonna happen?
You're probably going to have another player drop very, very soon. Hang on.
Oh my goodness. Where is this money coming from, though? Okay, I'm going to start a poll here just to get everyone's thoughts and also see people's comments. But are you in favor of this? I get that Saquon Barkley, we talked about this again right before this broke, but Saquon is good for this offense. But money-wise, I don't know if I can wrap my head around this being a good deal. I need to know how many more guys can we get? What's the cap space? What are we talking about here? Because even the guaranteed money that you just brought up, that's pretty insane to me. For especially a Howie Roseman type of move. But hey, if you're trying to make sure and build around your $255 million quarterback, you just go ahead and add that. You extended your left guard. Your O-line is there. I get why Saquon would certainly want to play here as well. But oh my goodness, this is insane.
Yeah,
he's pulling money out of no. Again, I don't know. I'm trying to do the math in my head and I can't because I'm in total shock. I'm speechless right now of this move happening. But Ryan says we're just printing money. I suppose there's just an extra Howie fund.
Well, listen, let's be very, very clear. We don't know exactly how the Bryce Huff contract is structured. We don't exactly know how the Saquon Barkley contract is structured, but Howie Roseman is a cap genius. We've known this for a very, very long time. He's a cap genius. And let's just think about what happened this past season, Josh. They went into 2023 with a roster that everyone thought was absolutely loaded with all the pieces in place. They had bad coaching and they had a bad stretch. Philadelphia watched what the San Francisco 49ers did with Christian McCaffrey in a trade that everybody, including myself, said they way overpaid for Christian McCaffrey. How many draft picks did they give up? What's the new contract that they gave him? What has been the best part, literally the best part of the Kyle Shanahan offense over the past couple of years? Not Brock Purdy. It's not Deebo Samuel. It's been Christian McCaffrey. The guy has been automatic behind that incredible offensive line over there in San Francisco. Howie Roseman saw that. We played Christian McCaffrey this past year. We got spanked by Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers at the link. Philadelphia has not invested this kind of money in a running back for years and years and years. And I think Howie went, okay, right now, Christian McCaffrey worked for the 49ers. And remember what the Eagles offense looked like when they had LaShawn McCoy, the last great running back in Philadelphia? It was pretty darn good. You have a young quarterback in Jalen Hurts. You're still trying to grow behind. You're still trying to kind of blossom into the superstar we saw glimpses of, obviously, the 2022 season. But now this offense has an elite number one wide receiver, an elite number one wide receiver, an elite number one tight end, an elite offensive line. They just gave the most money ever to an offensive guard in Landon Dickerson a couple of hours ago. The only thing that they needed was an elite running back. And sure, AndreSwift was good last year, but you can make the argument that AndreSwift was a product of the Eagles' offensive line. Now take a running back in Saquon that you know is good, that you know is fantastic, and pair him with an offensive line that is maybe the best in the league. How do you stop this offense? That's the question. I know it's a lot of money. He has been injured in the past. That's everybody that gets signed today. Everybody that's getting signed today either has injury problems or could have an injury problem. Let's just put that aside. Healthy Saquon Barkley in this offense makes it the best offense in the entire National Football League, and Kellen Moore was just given a Ferrari for Christmas. He got a brand new 2024 Ferrari to go with his Ferraris on the outside, his Ferrari at quarterback, and his Ferraris on the offensive line. This offense is ridiculous, and guess what, New York? You get to watch Saquon Barkley twice every single year, once at MetLife Stadium, and he's going to be in Midnight Green.
It's absolutely unreal. Shout out to Zach saying that I'm acting like a 10-year-old at Christmas.
I am too.
Seeing this, but
I am too.
I mean, I've gone back and forth on the sense of like, okay, yeah, you're going to be better, but it doesn't really make sense. But I have held to just saying like, I don't believe it's going to happen. And I even the Diana Rossini and the heating up with Ian Rappaport, like all these other, I'm still like, nope, you got to prove it. It's going to have to actually happen. And I'm still sitting here going like, did this legitimately just happen? Do we have Saquon Barkley? And it's fair. You make a good point. Like you have all these extra weapons, it's incredible, but gosh, that's a lot of money to me for Saquon Barkley.
It's a lot of money.
It's like there's an argument too, and you made mention of it, right? The injury prone. I think Bienemey was one saying that injury prone to 3.9 yards per carry. Again, that's the Giants, and that's knowing that Saquon Barkley is going to get the ball every single time. You're going to key off of Barkley. It's totally different to your point of all the weapons that you have, and Saquon is just another piece, an incredible piece, but it's just another piece of that offense. So I trust that, he can be really good. Kellen Moore can put him in great spots. Let's remember, AndreSwift, the knock on him was staying healthy before he came, and he played a full season. Like he would have played the last regular season game if he needed to, just held out as a precaution. So you could stay healthy. I mean, also, I don't know, I'm trying to like talk myself into like, this is a little bit better of a contract than what it seems, because I'm still going like, bro, that is a freak ton of money. But like, AndreSwift was near dead last yards after contact, rushing attempts, yards after contact, near dead last out of like 48 running backs. I saw the tweet earlier today. So he got a lot of yards before contact, and we saw that because of the holes that he's getting blocked, but not as much about finishing those runs. There's a difference, and we all know that with the Saquon Barkley. Just go look at the runs. So it's going to be good in the sense of, yes, you have weapons, but I'm still going like, I need to see these deals. I need to know how much cap space we're still talking about. Like, is this going to be detrimental to the defense? Because I think we still would come away from this, most people, after the season saying the offense doesn't need a whole lot of change. Like, you have basically the pieces that you need. You need personnel on defense. Now, you need coaching in all phases, but like, you got the coaches, start adding to the defense. You have Bryce Huff, but at this point, for sure, Hassan Reddick is gone. Absolutely gone. You're not paying him. There's no way there's money to pay him. So he's gone. And if they're trying to make a big deal, which I assume is a Xavier McKinney, then, Josh Sweat is probably, you're trying to look somewhere else. So you're going to say, hey, we're going to get younger because Nolan Smith has been talked about. You got Bryce Huff. You're going to move other players around. But like, to me, I'm saying, okay, well, who's the other linebacker? You still got to get a linebacker. Maybe you get Xavier McKinney or some safety that's serviceable, but you probably need some depth in corner. There's just a lot of pieces on defense where I'm going like, it's cool. It's fun. Madden's going to be awesome to play with Saquon Barkley in this Eagles offense, but I still just am, I don't know. My head's more on like, I got to see these contract numbers because it doesn't make sense. And it's nothing that's how he's really done before. So, history says this is a bad move. I will say that. I don't want to poo-poo on it, but like history says this is a bad move.
I think the biggest mistake Howie Roseman has made maybe in his entire career is getting rid of or allowing, I guess, the Kiko Alonso trade for LaShawn McCoy. I think that he wants to make up for that. He got scared away when DeMarco Murray happened, and rightfully so, because that was a big-time flop. DeMarco Murray a little bit older than what Saquon Barkley is right now. And from the health perspective, Saquon has played 46 out of 53 potential games the past 3 seasons. So let's just be clear about the health-wise. Update, though, on the next move. The next move that is happening, I would guess very soon. You have Jake Rabati, go ahead and confirming that Philly is aggressively pursuing Xavier McKinney 8 minutes ago. He then quote tweeted like aggressively, and I do trust Jake Rabati from Liberty Line. I think he does a really good job, and he's been pretty darn correct with what Philadelphia has been doing so far. And so just an update there. We're keeping an eye on what's going to happen with Xavier McKinney. Likely the next move is my guess based on reports that we are hearing from one Diana Rossini. Andrew Van Ginkel, he's back with the Miami Dolphins. That looks like it has dropped, according to a couple of people on Twitter. And so Philadelphia has now lost another potential pass rush option and have not signed anybody connected technically with the Vic Fangio Dolphins defense. Christian Wilkins went earlier to the Raiders. That was going to be too much anyway. You got $100 million. And then obviously you have a situation where they could have gotten Van Ginkel. I have not seen the contract numbers on that one just yet. But again, we're keeping an eye on stuff like that. There is Xavier McKinney per Wes Steinberger, the New York Giants insider. It is official as of 52 seconds ago. We have Xavier McKinney now coming to Philadelphia. I believe that has just happened, Josh. Hang on.
Hang on. You said who was it? You said it's Wes.
I got Wes here. I got it up on the screen because we're doing this as quickly as we can.
Oh, he's a troll. He's a troll. Is
he a troll?
Yeah.
Did I miss it?
Yeah, he's gotten several people. Yeah, he looks legit, but he's posted several. He did the whole. Who was it? He did one before. We need to see others because he's done a couple. I got to see who it was because somebody like quote tweeted him and said, "Oh, bro, stop it!" Like there's
Donnell Hunter is a 49er. Wow.
Okay, let Eric Armstead go and several of the others.
Okay, a couple of super chats here. We appreciate you guys. If you guys who have not hit the super chat button, we appreciate that. No more playing safeties deep in a zone. Bring them A's back to the box to watch out. Butts as well. Heavy TD season for Hurts. If you're a Jalen Hurts fantasy football owner and maybe a legacy league or something like that, you got to feel good about Saquon. I mean, and if you're an A.J. Brown, I mean, geez, the Eagles are going to go crazy. How high does Saquon go in fantasy football leagues? Appreciate the 5, though. 20 here from James Carver. He says, I think they did the Barkley deal by banking on Huff's savings. I think they're banking on one-hit wonder, literally only 6 tackles 1 year ago. This deal means moving on from Reddick for sure, paying for Barkley. That is very, very true. Reddick is for sure gone. It's a matter of time here because they cannot afford to keep him. We'll see if Sweat goes as well. We got a 2-hour super chat here. Let's get some D-backs and draft a linebacker. I think that is probably where Philly goes with their draft picks will be linebackers and corners is my guess. We appreciate 2,300 people watching on both of our channels. That is the most watched Eagles live show happening right now. We appreciate that. Thumbs up. We only have 200 likes. Can we get to 1,000 likes?
Come on, they just signed Saquon Barkley. I'm going to say, come on.
Saquon Barkley.
No one thought this was going to happen. Maybe they're going to have Saquon play safety, to a dual-way player here in this instance. But we got Saquon, so come on.
All right, we are waiting on the Xavier McKinney stuff. That has not happened yet. So, yeah, we are not there yet. Sean Murphy Bunting is a Cardinal, so that is something. The Van Ginkel money is 2 years for $20 million. Pretty good deal there. Philadelphia choosing to go with Bryce Huff over him, which is interesting because of obviously the connection with the Eagle defensive coordinator, but that is worth noting. Bunch of likes there. Keep the likes coming. We appreciate you guys here. If you have not seen what is going on, it is official that Saquon Barkley and Bryce Huff are Philadelphia Eagles on what is a crazy day, Josh, that is supposedly going to be getting even crazier. We are awaiting more moves, and they are not done yet. Looks like we have Xavier McKinney from Victor Williams. That is official. It's on your screen right now. He says source says that they have agreed to a contract with former Giants safety Xavier McKinney per source. Now, this is the first Eagle insider who has a link, but this is pre-Schefter, so keep an eye on this one. We're probably going to have it live. Give us a thumbs up if you guys want Xavier McKinney. This seems to be happening very, very soon. We don't have it anywhere else yet, so we're going to see if we get this one.
I need confirmation here because it looks like Dov Kleiman had quote tweeted that Wes Steinfeld or whatever, and then deleted it. So Yep.
I think he axed that one pretty quickly. But Victor Williams is probably the first to actually have an inside look here.
Goodness.
Micah Parsons just tweeted sickening. Saquon Barkley, there you have here. Listen, I got something for all the Eagle fans right now. Saquon has spoken, and we have it here 18 minutes ago. We talk about emojis all the time. How about 2 eagle emojis from Saquon Barkley 18 minutes ago? There you go. There's your first official notification. Being a Giants fan has got to be absolutely sickening today, and I love it just for that reason. Thumbs up for Giants fans, just absolutely coping today.
This is unreal. Yeah, Zach says I need confirmation because I'm going to be doing backflips on the Xavier McKinney. If this happens here, I mean, my gosh. And then also, like, I can't wait because we talked about this before, right? But like, you wait on doing the whole mock drafts thing until after free agency. And this is why, because any of your mock drafts that you did have been totally shattered because, even if you wanted Saquon Barkley a week ago, you can't tell me that, you were legitimately thinking that Saquon Barkley is going to come to Philly, and yet he is getting paid crazy money. So the fact that it's going to be this makeup of the team, and if you get a Xavier McKinney, then I think that, as crazy as it sounds, I think you might get a linebacker drafted, like a high linebacker drafted.
A high linebacker drafted.
Edgerrin Cooper possibly, or even a Peyton Wilson if Howie fills that route. You even get him earlier like that. It would kind of be crazy, but again, you just look at kind of the holes on the defense after this, and you're going to be limited in financial options too. So you got to figure something out. But yeah, Noah Tabor and others saying need a linebacker. Linebacker, you absolutely need, even after all these signings here. But we'll see. I'm still refreshing like nonstop for Xavier McKinney. I need. We have
Dave Turney super check, and you see Saquon doing the brotherly shove. Of course. He's a tough. You see the muscles on Saquon Barkley? Just a little push, Come on. Definitely. Yeah. Although I think you're going to see a lot of Saquon Barkley handoffs from both under center. Something Kellen Moore does a lot more than the previous Eagle OC, and also in the shotgun. Google McKinney, it says he's a safety for Philly. That happens a lot, though, because Wikipedia can be changed pretty easily. I listen, I'm about 98% sure Xavier McKinney's dropping to Philadelphia any second here, but we don't have an official confirmation, so we're sitting tight waiting for that one to go ahead and drop, but it looks like it's going to happen any minute now. You know what? We have got to continue to think about the fact that our GM does things each and every year. Doesn't guarantee they always work because they don't always work, but he really tries to go for it, and you know what he's done? He watched this past year, and he said, you know what? This is still a very good core. Even with you're losing Kelsey, you're losing Fletcher Cox, this is still a very good core in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, the entire offensive line, even with Cam Jurgens now at center, probably Tyler Steen at right guard. You needed to get help at explosive positions like running back and pass rusher. They have done that. If they bring in Xavier McKinney and still have 9 draft picks plus whatever you get for Sweat and Reddick, 10 plus draft picks, boy, this is gearing up to be an offseason where Philadelphia is going to be vaulting up a lot, and I mean a lot of people's power rankings overall. As we have almost 3,000 people watching right now. We appreciate you guys making us the most watched Eagles live show that's happening right now. I keep reading comments saying McKinney's official. We have not gotten that yet. We are not going to post that until we officially know that it is going to happen. Let's see. One thing to note is that the Cowboys have not signed anybody. They have lost people. The Commanders have gone a little bit, but they're not doing much. They're signing ex-Cowboys. And the Giants are losing everybody to Philadelphia. So with that being said, we have not... the NFC East seems to be vaulting back towards Philadelphia, as it says.
We've taken the lead early on. It's still extremely early, so tons of moves to be made. But I'm just in total disbelief, quite honestly, because we've done a number of live shows before this, and the one question or a couple of the questions that we kept asking, who's the most likely? Is Saquon Barkley going to be an option? Heck, we did it like literally our first live show ever, like a year ago, was, hey, Barkley's an option. It's like, that's never going to happen. Howie's never going to pay for a running back. Yes, there's potential interest and blah, 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 whatever. But it's like the contract ramifications. Yet here he is. He talks about trying to get ahead of the curve, do things that are unorthodox, shake things up. But this is a move that, again, quite honestly, I never expected to see. But Saquon Barkley is an Eagle. I do love, you mentioned it a second ago, of Micah Parsons, but I'm also seeing several of the Giants like Kayvon Thibodeau and others of how much they hate to see this move. So yeah, it's always fun. A little pain from other NFC rivals.
Yeah. Okay, we still do not have Xavier McKinney yet. As we keep rolling on here, we're at the point where if we get a Xavier McKinney signing, we can restart the stream and make sure that one goes up. So that way people can find the Saquon Barkley news as well. Listen, I'm pumped, man. It's a lot of money, and you think back to free agency moves that have worked and free agent moves that have not worked. But you think back to what Christian McCaffrey did when he was traded. You gave up draft capital and then signed the number one contract for all running backs in basically the entire history of the National Football League. He made the 49ers into what they are right now. You take Christian McCaffrey off the 49ers, they're awful. You saw it when he was banged up in the middle of last year. Brock Purdy can't carry them all on his own. The Kyle Shanahan offense is great, but they need to have loaded defensive box to throw against because they're so worried about Christian McCaffrey. How do you defend the Philadelphia Eagles right now? Seriously, what do you do? What's the plan? Because it's going to be Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, read option, running all over you if you want to stop A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Or you can try and stop A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and they're going to give the rock to Saquon Barkley 20 times a game, mix in Kenny Gainwell and probably a fifth-round running back draft pick as well, and run it down your throats behind an offensive line that is as good, if not better, than we've seen in a very, very long time. So it's getting crazy. We got a super chat here from David Turn. Love you guys. You guys rock. We got Saquon, and Dallas continues to have no running back. That's right, with the Titans getting Pollard. Maybe Henry to the Ravens. I would think that that's going to be true as well later on today. So keep an eye on that. Wild. Super chat from Hit. Very concerned. Yep, that'd be interesting. Very concerned about rumors Henry goes to Dallas because of our Barkley trade. I have not seen that rumor yet, so do not panic as of right now. I do not think that is going to happen. I think he's going to be a Raven, would be my best guess there in terms of what is going to happen. Trying to see here.
Yeah, I don't think it's official yet, but it's gaining some momentum here, so it wouldn't be surprising. This is wild. I still say you got to make everyone knows this, but you have to make moves on defense.
Yep.
So I
McKinney next. It's got to be next.
Very excited to see what moves you make because we are not a. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be like super negative, but still, it's like realistic here. We're not a complete team yet. Like we got great offense, but the defense is a concern. You can fill it, and there's obviously options out there. But if you get Xavier McKinney, maybe you draft a linebacker. You've got Huff. Probably gonna need to draft another pass rusher as well. But it's gonna be wild. It's nothing that I expected to see it. I don't think many people did, but here we are. Saquon Barkley is a Philadelphia Eagle, and for those that are joining, I just saw looks like it was Ed saying, "What's the contract joining late?" For people who joining late, just to recap, Saquon Barkley,
pull it up here.
3-year, $37.75 million contract. Could be worth up to $46.75, according to Schefter, which includes $26 million fully guaranteed at signing. So, 15.833 average per year.
It's big. If you would have told me, Josh, if you would have told me that the Eagles were going to sign Saquon to a $15+ million a year contract for 3 years 3 weeks ago, I would have said you are out of your mind. We will just pay Swift $6 million a year. They have paid. Remember, Swift got 8.25, 8.6 basically a year the first 2 seasons. So they are paying basically $7 million more a year than DeAndre Swift. They consider Saquon Barkley to be $7 million a year better than DeAndre Swift. And that tells you a lot about what this offense thinks about. And I mean, and think about the Kellen Moore system. Sure, he had Zeke, and sure, he had Eckler, but really, he's more of a pass-happy guy. This, to me, signals that either, and I don't know where this comes from, Kellen Moore, Sirianni, Hurts, the front office, they went, you know what? Pass offense is going to be just fine. But let's make sure we are the most well-rounded, balanced, explosive team in the league, and we're going to make sure we run the football because you cannot sign Saquon Barkley and not give him enough touches. Boom, here you go, $15.8 million a year. Now, contracts. We keep talking about contracts. Money. Let's be clear. We don't know how much cap space Philadelphia has right now. One, because you have Reddick is waiting. Sweat is waiting for trades, and we don't know where this money is on both the Barkley contract and the Huff contract. We talked about Josh Huff or Bryce Huff a little bit earlier on a previous show. It's already live on our channels. Check that one out if you missed it. Both of those, we know the total number and the years. We don't know how it stacks up. How much is a bonus? How much is pushed towards year 3? How much is incentives? We just don't know. And so when people are asking, well, do you have money for McKinney? The answer is yes. Howie can always make money for McKinney. But after McKinney is done, I don't know if there's money for more, if there isn't enough money, but we just don't know exactly how much money is left for Philadelphia because we don't have the exact contract details, and we got to make that very, very clear.
Yeah. You made a point a second ago. it's a crazy amount of difference too between DeAndreSwift and Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
Is Saquon Barkley worth that big of a difference in your mind to put you on the spot? And because that's a significant amount of difference from what you're paying DeAndre. And I get that they're better. I don't think there's any denying. Most people, I think anyone would agree. If both are healthy, Saquon is for sure the better back. But is it worth that much of a difference to you?
Howie thinks so. I mean, Howie Roseman thinks so. And if you remember what LaShawn McCoy did for Philadelphia, and again, if Christian McCaffrey wasn't on a Niner, if he wasn't a Niner and had made, the Niners a perennial NFC championship game team every year that he's been there, this doesn't happen. But they looked inside the NFC and they said, our one big rival, as of right now, obviously, there's a lot of things that can happen. The Packers and Jordan Love, and the Cowboys, maybe, I don't know. The Vikings, losing Kirk Cousins. Falcons now. Your one rival that you must beat on your way back to a Super Bowl trip is the San Francisco 49ers. And the one thing the Niners have on you right now is that their overall scheme on offense has been better. Okay, so you get Kellen Moore to counter that, and their running game has been way, 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 way better. And they have a player in Christian McCaffrey who is so darn hard to stop that it's just a game planning nightmare. Well, now we have our version, okay? You lay down your Saquon or your Christian McCaffrey card, we lay down our Saquon Barkley card, and now you're going to go up an ante and go right at each other. And is he worth $7 million more? Probably not. Is he worth $4 million more? Sure. Is he worth $5 million more? I could make that argument. I think Houston drove the price up. That was reported all day long. And Howie Roseman, with $44 million, the 10th most cap space in the entire league, said, we can afford this. Let's try and go win another chip while Jalen Hurts is still young. And I think that they have a really, really good chance. Their odds of winning a Super Bowl have just astronomically skyrocketed with these two moves today.
They've gone up.
I think they have. I think they have.
Be the devil's advocate here, and people are going to be like, "Stop being negative." I've already seen comments about that. I'm just trying to temper expectations.
Sure.
I know that I'm normally really optimistic about it.
Sure.
I just Ryan. Shout out to Ryan here, the $10 super chat. He says that's a terrible deal. I don't know if I'm on the terrible deal, but he says Saquon don't give a crap about his touches with $26 million guaranteed. That's a horrible waste of cap. Hopefully, I'll be eating my words. I hope that it's good. I think the Eagles are going to be better on offense. I just, honestly, I'm kind of right now saying that feels like a lot of money. And, Howie's a cap wizard. So I'm not saying this is I'm doubting Howie, or I'm just trying to be super negative on that sense. But I really, honestly, if I have to give my take on it, I got to see what we're going to do at some other moves. Because if all of a sudden it's oh, hey, cool, you know what? You solidified other areas on the defense, then I'm going to say, no, it's not as big of a concern. But if we're having to really settle on some of these, potential bigger holes that we're seeing, then I'm of the sense that's bro, that's a little bit high for me. You could go get another running back, and I know he's not Saquon Barkley, but gosh, that is a lot on there. Again, I'll make a counter argument to myself here, I guess, and just say he does make the Eagles better on offense. And I think it is telling where they're looking at with Jalen Hurts, because you mentioned it a second ago, right? With Saquon Barkley, hey, do you want to load up the box? Cool. It's going to make life easier on Jalen. You got the slant route, which we'll get back to, hopefully and thankfully, but you got play action with Kellen Moore under center. You've got a lot of other options. So, defenses for sure account for it. I mean, it's without question. If you're a defense and you're game planning and you say, hey, Saquon Barkley's the running back, it's a different story. And you know what? Hey, again, DeAndreSwift, he did good. I'm not saying he was bad. I wanted to re-sign him depending on where the financials were. But it's a different story when you come into a defensive coordinator and say, it's Saquon Barkley that we're game playing against versus DeAndreSwift that we're game playing against. And so, you know what? You're going to make life easier on Jalen. So I'm for it in that sense. I just, gosh, I got to see another move. I got to see what else he can do on the defensive side, because it does scare me right now still with the holes that we have on the defensive side.
We have James Carver here who says, how do you pay $10+ million for pass blocking beyond Agent Zero versus re-signing Swift, using Huff savings to grab Queen, focusing on wrong side of the ball, banking on one season from Huff versus VG from the Dolphins? Crazy move. So we do have some negatives, people out there. I see the comment section. Ryan Greaves said, could have spent that money on linebackers, on safeties, on corners that can actually cover. You also have 9 draft picks. People are forgetting about that, and a bunch of good corners in the first round. Jillian with the 5 says, Saquon was injury prone. The Giants O-line was awful. Swift cheese. Let him cook behind Stoutland University. There's a positive one, but a mixed bag here from a lot of people who are obviously very excited for this happening right now. Let me say this. you have got to go ahead and get the like button smashed. We're at 662 likes. We're at 3,300 people watching right now. It's the most watched Eagles live show happening. If you've not subbed, this is your place to be. We're first on everything that's happening. Full breakdowns. Obviously, when Xavier McKinney happens, this stream will die. We'll do a new stream. Xavier McKinney pops up. Hit the sub button, whether you're watching on my channel or on Josh's channel. We would greatly appreciate that. That would be absolutely fantastic. People are saying that they are seeing a deal for Xavier McKinney. I have not seen that, Josh. We are still waiting for an official report on Xavier McKinney.
I'm not seeing it from any of the big guns yet.
We haven't yet.
Speculation here. So, and who knows? Yeah. Aaron Jones was released, though. That's kind of
I did see that.
Surprising.
I did see that. Yep.
So that makes more sense to the Josh Jacobs, though, because I was going to go like, wait, you got Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs here? But yeah, they figured the deal was not going to happen at that point, so they just wanted to move on.
So super
He's got to love the Saquon deal.
He does. He does. Our defense is at a minimum 2 years to rebuild if we need to win now. Having a high-powered offense to carry the defense is our best option. Let's forget 2022 Chiefs did the same thing, and look what happened. There you go. That's another great point. And again, they're not done on the defense. Everyone who's complaining that we're not addressing defense because of the Saquon Barkley move, when, and I think it's when, not if, they get Xavier McKinney, the top safety in this free agent class, plus Bryce Huff, maybe top 3 pass rusher, the top pass rusher, that's up for debate. They will have addressed 2 starting defensive positions already in free agency with 9 more picks left in the NFL draft waiting for Haason Reddick, Josh Sweat's trade. So, I mean, listen, bolstering defense is very important. It's the weaker side of the football right now, but they get Xavier McKinney, then does that change our whole idea of what happens with Saquon Barkley?
It changes it better, yes. I still need to see the financials on that because, I mean, I think Bryce Huff to me was the best option in terms of, I'm going to say budget pass rushers. I know that's not really budget, but like he's not going to be the top payment, right? Like the top guys that are going to get paid money, but still really good potential. I think he's going to outplay the contract. Love that signing, like we broke a little while ago on the Bryce Huff. But to me, it's you still have a concern of where these other positions, because like you're going to move on from Haason Reddick. You can't pay him. There's no way that he's going to return. But you look at these couple first deals here, and especially if you get Xavier McKinney, then it's all of a sudden like, no way. So if Haason is gone, and I don't know about Josh Sweat there, but then I got to tell, okay, so I mean, I guess I got to ask you, there's other, moves to be made, and there's the draft coming up. I get all that. So I'm trying to, as best I can, in this crazy frenzy that we're talking about, and I'm still struggling to say that the Eagles have Saquon Barkley. But with all that being said, I mean, who's your top options as edge rusher at that point? Let's say, I guess maybe Sweat comes back, Hassan's probably gone. So you have Josh Sweat and Bryce Huff, and then your backup options are Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham. I mean, there's potentials there, but there's still a lot of unproven. I get that you certainly from a Nolan Smith perspective, he's got to get out there and play. You have to prove it and just say, you know what, hey, either he's worth it and good, or he's a bust. And there's not even close to saying a bust now, because you have to have patience and actually let him have enough snaps. But still, I'm just saying there's a lot of areas now where I'm like, I don't want to rely too much. I get we can rely a little bit on the draft, but I don't want to rely too much on the draft and saying, hey, we got 9 selections here. Let's just go all defense and then hope that we have, draft picks hit. So especially if you're going to lose a Haason Reddick, if you lose both Haason Reddick and Josh Sweat, then, I mean, there's serious concern on the pass rush, even with Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith and, some of the others there. But Sean, stop it. Nolan Smith is not a bust. He's not a bust. Come on.
I knew he'd see that comment. Ryan Green with 5. I've softened my stance. It's a lot of money put for Saquon. If he was that dude coming out of Penn State, yeah, no problem. He's not that guy. He had 1,300 yards from scrimmage last year, so, take that with as you will. Can we just C.J. Gardner-Johnson? We get McKinney. Seems like Tennessee, the report is very high on Gardner-Johnson. Obviously, the connection there with the Eagles' former secondary coach, whose name I'm blanking on right now, but I think that is going to happen. Yes, thank you. When it comes to pass rusher, and we talked about Bryce Huff, that's on our already on our channel. Let's just check that one out. That dropped a couple of minutes ago whenever it actually happened. I think that we are putting Reddick and Sweat on a little too high of a pedestal. Historically, have they been great? Yes. No one's saying they're bad pass rushers. What happened this past year, though? Like, where were they during the 7-game stretch? Non-existent. Literally, Josh Sweat was non-existent. He did not exist during that 7-game stretch. And Haason Reddick, this entire year, A lot of stretches where he did a lot of nothing. And especially in that playoff game, Nolan Smith seemed to come alive. They spent an early draft pick or a first-round draft pick on Nolan Smith. They feel very confident in him. He's healthy coming off of a minor shoulder surgery. We talked about that in the show a couple of days ago. And they think the interior of this defense, especially on the defensive line, is going to be great. Jalen Carter is going to be great. Milton Williams is going to be very good this year. Jordan Davis, hopefully, in year 3. They will draft somebody probably early on, first round, second round, third round, whatever they want to do. They think that they can get younger. And if they are either as good rushing the passer as they were this past year or slightly worse, you at least are going to get something in return for Hassan Reddick, not have to pay a 31-year-old pass rusher $25+ million a deal, $25 million a year. And hey, Bryce Huff had 10 sacks last year. What if he gives you 10 sacks this year on $17 million a year? That's an absolutely insane contract. And it's a really, really smart move for Philadelphia. I don't buy this idea that people are saying that, hey, the Eagles are only caring about offense when they're probably getting Xavier McKinney and they already got Bryce Huff. That's pretty good in terms of 2 of the top 10 free agents that have been available in this class.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's not bad. You got to take chances at certain places. So it's always going to happen. But I don't know, man. It's a risk. I mean, at that money that you pay Saquon Barkley, usually we say like, oh, hey, it's a good low risk, high reward type of signing. This is a high risk, high reward. Like, let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. You pay a running back, any running back, that amount of money. Yep. It's a high risk, high reward. It could work out. It could be great. If he stays healthy the entire season, it'll be phenomenal, certainly from an offensive perspective. But I still, defensively, can you fit in enough guys, have enough stop gaps there? I'm fine. I know that certain people are going to say defense wins championships, and it does to a certain extent and all this other stuff. But like, you can win by having the offense have to take a little bit more of the load. And we've seen that. I mean, even look at the Chiefs, like they've won in both ways recently, right? They offensively one year, defensively the next year, like, so it can happen in multiple ways, but I don't know. That's just it's a pretty significant hill to die on, and just say like, all right, this is our move. We're getting a Saquon Barkley, bringing him in here and turning over quite a bit of the defense. Yeah, it's kind of shocking to me. I will say that, but that's why Howie does what he does. He does make some surprising moves at times, and I will gladly say that I was completely wrong. I mean, I've already said it on Twitter by saying that I never thought that Saquon was going to happen. So, but I will gladly say if at the end of the season, it turned out great. Saquon is healthy. He's acquired several free agents that work out great on the defensive side. We still have the draft obviously coming up too. But I will say there's a little bit of anxiety until we see the full contract details. Because yes, it will tell a different story, but once we know cap space and where they're going to go with it. But right now, I'm just saying that is an awfully amount of money to spend.
All right, we're keeping an eye on a lot of other moves that are going to be happening. I want to get to this comment here from Lord to Success saying, why can't we trade Sweat, use that money to keep Hassan? Sweat's not under contract for that much in this final year. I don't remember the exact money, but it's $25 million a year for Hassan Reddick is a lot. And I think Philly will gladly take a second or a third to ship him out of here and pay Bryce Huff, who's 5 years younger and had basically the same amount of sacks this past season, $17 million a year. So we're definitely going to go ahead and keep an eye on that. Okay, everybody hit the sub button right now. Turn on notifications. The Eagles have done a little bit of a lull here. We thought McKinney was going to drop any minute. It has not dropped yet, so we are going to hop off and we're going to reset and get ready for the next signing or the trade, depending on what it is. So 37,000 or 3,700 people watching right now. If you have not hit the sub button on either channel, my channel, Josh's channel, go down below, hit the red subscribe button, and you're going to want to turn on notifications because this will be the first channel to have the next breaking news, Josh and myself together, on whatever happens with the Eagles going forward.
I'm going to try to sneak in some lunch, but as we've seen so far, every time we do that, we break more news. So, yeah, but we will be back as soon as they do that, and here we are. Still say it's. I don't know how long it's going to take me to realize that Saquon Barkley. Oh, by the way, let me just give a shout out too. I did a video recently. It was actually the last one. If you didn't get it on the giveaway, I didn't think it was going to happen, so I was going to give away Saquon Barkley jersey. I've got to do that now. So, but if you haven't already, go back to the video, comment Saquon. That's all you got to do, literally. Comment Saquon, and you'll automatically be entered. And I'll do a spin during probably one of the lives at some point. But congratulations to everyone who said that I was crazy, because you were right. We signed Saquon, and that's ridiculous.
There you go. The Philadelphia Eagles have signed Saquon Barkley. We're going to keep an eye on anything else happening. Number one Eagles live show between both of us happening right now. We appreciate you guys watching. Hit that sub button. We'll be back any minute now whenever the next news drops. See you guys.
Go Birds.